Okay, Sarah, so this is a good practice for integration by parts. For number 11, I'm guessing this would be a no calculator. I know it's integration by parts because I see an x to the fourth and a natural log of x. So I'm going to let, sorry, I'm sure you can hear my dogs in the background. I'm going to let u equal natural log, because remember that's one of our always statements. So u equals natural log, which means du is 1 over x. And then dv is going to be x to the fourth, which means v is going to be x to the fifth over 5. And I think even though this has the limits of integration from 1 to e, I think I'll do all of the integration, completely get that done, and then I'll go and plug in the 1 and the e. So remember the formula for integration by parts is uv, so natural log of x times x to the fifth over 5. Let's see. Natural log of x to the fifth over 5. So uv minus the integral of v du. And I think the 1 over 5, I'll go ahead and put that out in front. And then I have x to the fifth over x is x to the fourth. And so I'll just finish my integration. So I've got natural log of x times x to the fifth over 5 minus 1/5, and then when I integrate x to the fourth, it's going to be an x to the fifth over 5. And now that I'm done with the integration, I'll evaluate all of that from 1 to e. So if I plug in e, I'm going to have e to the fifth over 5. The natural log of e is just 1, minus, I'll go ahead and combine that and say e to the fifth over 25. So that's plugging in e, minus, and now I'm going to plug in 1. Well, if I put a 1 in for natural log, that's going to be 0. Minus, and then a 1 in for x to the fifth, and I'm going to have 1 over 25. And it looks like the answer choices, yeah, there aren't any separate fractions on the answer choices. They're all one fraction. So I'll go ahead and get a common denominator of 25. So I'll multiply this denominator by 5, this numerator by 5. So I've got 5e to the fifth. And let's see, all this is over 25. And then minus e to the fifth plus 1. And I think if I subtract 4e to the fifth there, I think that's going to come out to be letter B. All right, so I think this one should be letter B. I hope that's what the answer choices say. All right, and then on 92, yeah, this one I've had lots of people ask about this. In fact, when I first looked at it, I kind of was stuck for a minute because it doesn't seem that big a deal. They give you everything you need. This part they just casually mention in the wording of the problem, but it's pretty significant. All right, so if I'm going to integrate, and I have f of x times g double prime, I'm going to use integration by parts. And what I was thinking is that we should probably let the dv be g double prime, because then v would be the first derivative of g. And so that means u is going to be f of x. So du would be f prime of x. Okay, so for my formula, uv, so f of x times g prime, and that doesn't bother me. I haven't looked at the chart closely, but I'm guessing most of that will be there. So let's see, uv minus the integral of v du, and here's where I see the issue. So v du is going to be g prime of x times f prime of x. Dx. And again, I'll bring in the 2 and the 4 at the very end. And the reason I thought this is an issue, yeah, it's possible to do integration by parts again. And either one of them could be the dv, but the problem is whichever one is the u, then the du is going to be the second derivative. And I think that's the problem, is that my derivatives are going up instead of going down. And again, you could try integration by parts again. I already tried that the first time I did this, and I got myself stuck. But here's what I had missed out on. This part that they give us in the problem, this says f prime of x is 3, and the significance of that statement is it's f prime of x. And what that means is f prime, no matter what x is always 3, which means I can replace this f prime of x with 3. So what I have here is the integral of 3 times g prime of x, which means I don't need to do integration by parts to integrate that. So I'm going to bring this down just so I don't forget it. F of x, g prime of x minus. So when I integrate, again, bring down the f of x, the g prime of x, I'll bring out the 3, and when I integrate g prime, it's just going to give me g. And again, don't forget, I need all of this to be evaluated from 2 to 4. And I'm guessing when I plug this in, all these values are going to be at the top. So I need f of 4, g of 4, minus 3 g of 4, minus f of 2, g prime of 2, minus 3 g of 2. And again, I'm hoping, I haven't looked closely, but I'm hoping all of these values are in the table. Let's just make sure. So they give me both f and g at 2 and 4, and they give me g prime at 2 and 4. Yeah, I think from that point, you're given everything you need in the table. If you need me to keep going from there, I will, but I think that's where you've got it. I'm guessing the issue was just not recognizing that f prime of x, because that's what I didn't notice at first. All right, so good luck. Let me know if you need anything else.